Hi everyone, here's an update about a project I'm involved in with my friend Sasha in Italy, better known to people on YouTube as Atarix777. His link will be somewhere in my description, which may be down here somewhere unless you're on full screen. I'm here in my very squeaky chair in my man cave. Just describe what we're actually trying to do. As he said quite well, what we want to do is do very long-range FPV using the internet, as somebody already has the internet set up for us, and there's a brilliant infrastructure there, and it goes an awful lot further than radio waves. So to make it accessible to people, rather than using the input of a normal RC controller, we're thinking about something that most people might have. This is a PS3 controller. Atarix tested this using a PS2 controller, but pretty much any 4-axis joystick that's going to connect via USB will do. On the client side, all you're going to need is that and a Python script that's about 100 lines long, and there's not much to it really. Server side, after messing around a bit with USB adapters to radios and trying to do trainer port things, came up with the idea of using an Arduino card. This is the Arduino Leonardo. Tiny little thing, nice and cheap, cost me about £18. Never used one before, and it's pretty good. It seems pretty straightforward so far, and in the limited amount of time I've had to play with it. So we're going to take output from that, and we're going to plug it into this RC transmitter. This is one I ripped out of my Turnigy 9X when I replaced it with a FreeSky module. Still functions perfectly well. I've basically stuck the old antenna on the back, and that's fine. So we're aiming to basically take input from a joypad, turn it into a network packet, squirt it down to another machine that's going to be running some server code, which will talk to the Arduino. The Arduino will talk to the radio transmitter, and that will talk to a vehicle. In this case, we're going to be using my FPV car. It's not a particularly good car for this. It's, I mean, you can see it's pretty much hammered together in the first place out of an old Tamiya kit. It's far too fast for using indoors, but I'll be using indoors anyway. It does about 20 miles an hour, so I've written in some basic code to use a dual rate on my server bit. Now, the thing we are using, in terms of the VTX, it's going to send a signal into the computer, and the idea is that then uses Skype to transmit it. Now, on Atarix's side, he's already tried this out, and his capture card will go straight into Skype, no problem. My capture card, this is a Dazzle DVC130. Doesn't work on an input device on a Mac, and on a Windows machine it pretends it's there, but it doesn't work. So I've had to come up with a really nasty way of doing it, which I'm about to show. It's really a crap situation, but it does the job as a test. Basically, I'm filming something that's displaying the picture with a rubbish webcam, but it kind of it does for the test, and it does actually work. So yeah, let's go on and describe the client setup and the server setup. Okay, so here's the first part of the client setup. It's basically just a reader to read the joystick position of whatever you have, which it then sends down the network. What we're doing in terms of speed and simplicity is we lose some resolution on it, but the top value there we have basically a percentage of the stick movement, and so we're just sending those 4 bytes down along with some header and footer bytes to say here's the positions of the joysticks, turn that into BPM stream. And what you're seeing down the bottom is what the Arduino should calculate for itself. This is just so I could match it up when I was debugging the stuff at the bottom here. Okay, so let's look at what we got. Okay, this is the horror of the downstairs configuration. We have the car here. Arduino and RC transmitter connected to a Mac Mini, also connected to a Mac Mini, an iToy filming my crappy DVR, which is beaming itself through Skype, and there's the stick display up here. So let's see. So here's a close-up of the Arduino. All we're doing is we're taking the power, 5 volt comes from the USB, and also the serial connection. We're going out 5 volts, ground, and the green is ppm, which is just going over to this Turnigy 9X module that we've removed from the radio, and we're basically shoving the ppm stream into that. Okay, welcome upstairs back on the Mac. You'll see we've got our stick monitor. We've got a quite shaky display, but if we move our camera stick around, we can move around and see. We can even go for a drive. Why didn't I open that door? Oh, washing. It's very hard to drive one-handed. Especially when I'm trying to navigate myself around this door. As you can see, it's to say it's not very good resolution, you know, states the obvious, but the fact is, albeit on my local network, I can use my PS3 remote over my network, look around, and drive a car. I drive a car very well. I can see even less here. So that's just a quick taster of where we've managed to get to so far, and what we're up to. Now there's much to sort out and fix. From my point of view, one thing I'm having real trouble with is getting the ppm values, well, I believe the ppm values, to stay perfectly in time. What I'm getting is quite shaky servos, which you could probably see in the screen with the picture just not quite right. So there's a bit of jitter in the servos, which I think is caused by perhaps not calling the Arduino to send the ppm every 20 milliseconds. It's apparently got very accurate timers, but it might need to be interrupt driven. At the moment it's using TSP to send the data, which seems a bit pointless, so I might switch over to UDP for speed. But crucially, of course, this is just on my internal network. Will it work over the internet? And the answer to that is yes. You should be seeing, if I do this right, a little video over here of Atarix managing to drive my car from Italy, and he was in a much worse situation then, as I was using my Mac upstairs as the server, with relying on the VTX to get the picture through several walls and all the way downstairs, which got some really bad picture. And I was actually connecting the video receiver to this tiny DVR and basically holding it up to my camera like this. So he was trying to drive with my shaky hand and reflections, driving a shaky car around. But he seemed to do okay. He managed to collide with my cat and scare it. But it works, and we're working on it further, so stay tuned here. And of course, if you know if this is already done, then let me know. Half the reason I'm putting this out is that when I went around looking for this sort of stuff, some of the stuff was already there. Everybody's using Arduinos to move servos around and stuff, and people are using ppm. No one seems to combine it with FPV yet, which is what we're trying. But hopefully we'll get Atarix's car all configured, because he's got a laptop where we can plug his capture card straight in. He's got a good 3G connection outside. He doesn't have to rely on driving around his house. So stay tuned and we'll see what we can get here. And hopefully it'll be exciting. Bye for now.